そして狼は赤ずきんを食べた。
When I first heard about Jin-Roh Wolf Brigade, I was like 11 years old and thought anime was fucking stupid. But when I came across it the second time, I was actually really excited that I had this little gem tucked away for a rainy day that I hadn't really heard anyone talking about. Like, I get that it's a late 90s film, and because of that, it's not going to be on everyone's topical radar, but something to me still just felt a little off. Like, when I say no one was talking about it, I mean no one. Nowhere. Within the same conversational vicinity of iconic anime films such as Akira and Pick Your Satoshi Kon Poison, the Wolf Brigade scarcely mentioned, and I was a little worried that this might correlate with the movie's quality. Boy, was I misled. Hey, I'm demo. Who cares? Here's my review for Jin-Roh Wolf Brigade. First off, let's talk about why I considered this a gem for a rainy day when I hadn't even seen the film yet. You've got a director here who's worked on tons of great stuff in the past, even if his directorial credits are a bit lacking. Also, a handful of talented animators who have worked on the likes of Perfect Blue, Space Dandy, Kick Heart, Evangelion, Paranoia Agent, Blue Sub Number 6, Tokyo Godfathers, the list goes on. A screenplay and original creation credit to Mamoru Oshii? What? Is that Yoko Kanno on the composition? Is that freaking Yoko Kanno on the composition? I'm so ready for this! And then the actual movie itself is just like, shh, just take it easy. Get yourself comfortable. Are you warm? Yeah, I guess I'm warm. That's a weird question to ask. Good. Okay. It's a good thing that you feel warm and safe. Meet Guts. I mean Fusei. I mean handsome Guts. I mean wow, he really looks like a handsome Guts. But that's redundant. Fusei did a bad thing, and when he's called into question regarding his actions, he's forced off duty from the freaking satanic nightmare squad, which sets in motion his involvement with this pretty little thing and paves the way for a plot laden with scandalous intrigue and remorseful turbulence. When Fusei is finished soaking your panties with his stone-cold glare, you'll come to know him as one of the many soft-spoken yet colorful additions to Jin-Roh's story, captained by a unique subtlety that I like to consider the Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy of the anime realm. Depending on whether or not you've seen this movie and liked it, that might be a good thing or a huge deal breaker. It's a little slow, that's what I'm getting at. It's not a bad thing. They can both just be a little mentally taxing if you're bored to tears by this sort of premise, if Jin-Roh is a little less demanding of your perception of double and triple crossing between multiple militaristic agencies. And what's cool about that is how Fusei's nuances reflect this detail of the plot. He's incredibly straightforward, silent, and seems to have a rather one-track mind, yet come the end of the movie you'll learn that he can be bold and mysterious at the same time, and I don't have a crush on him. What I mean when I talk about this movie and its subtleties and how they really come together to make the film what it is in between brutally realistic scenes of violent carnage is, this movie's very quiet. Movie's very slow-paced. Movie places a lot of emphasis on the little things. Movies like, shh, look how calming and relaxed I can be. I'm all artsy-fartsy. The story itself is really ambitious and legit. You don't see a framework like this often in an animated film with such an extensive lore and backstory to go with it. It's obvious that many and most inspirations here are drawn from real-life influence and scenarios, yet given a creative twist that just makes you want to know more about the alternate history that's being so thoughtfully pieced together. I mean, bare bones, this isn't even a sci-fi film. It looks like one at first glance, but it's really not. It's also interesting and unique, and the gun porn and costume design is no exception. As you can see, this is where Guerrilla Games drew their inspiration for their Hellgas soldier and uniform designs. I don't actually know that, though. I didn't look it up. I don't look up anything. I'm just a big stupid idiot who only does silly videos on silly shows. Demo, when you gonna do it? Should you watch on your game, your life? One thing that you really have to appreciate in a film that strives for a realistic presence and atmosphere such as this is the attention to authenticity in its sound design. Every footstep taken, gun cocked, shot fired, and Molotov thrown has been separately recorded and feels as real as possible, with the exception of explosions and face punches. It's weird, it's like every face punch and explosion in anime sounded exactly the same pre-21st century. Listen. With this excellent audio quality comes an equally as fitting original soundtrack, which at this point you know I am crazy for. I flippin' love good music with my movies. And while the background music placement in Jin-Roh may be a bit more sparse than other films, it doesn't make it any less appropriate, and is as well implemented as I could imagine it being. Ending theme is composed of course by Yoko Kanno and performed by Gabriella Robin from such hits as Thanks Yoko Kanno. Really, thank you. Thanks. A moment of silence for Yoko Kanno. Yoko Kanno's not dead. Anyway, when broken down to a technical level, Jin-Roh Wolf Brigade is a real piece of work that I feel most major release anime films today struggle to match artistically. What you'll likely notice before the orgasmic sound design is the animation, so fluid and weighty it crawls straight up out of the uncanny valley, leaving in its wake many a freakish anime art style and stumbles into an evocative realm of humanity rarely seen in animation, making it all the more disturbing when scenes like this happen. Don't worry, those guys weren't important. The production team here has forged this strange, unnerving alternate Japanese history and world that you feel like you can reach out and touch, and this is why films like this one tend to be more memorable. Maybe not so popular, but memorable nonetheless. It's when you can see, hear, and experience things that you won't get with any other story that you're left with a greater impression. And this only places second when I'm talking about my favorite aspects of this film. My favorite being that, for what it's worth, this movie doesn't give a crap about you and your expectations. Something that it makes sure you understand from the opening scene that frames Fusei's entire character onward. Which of course I won't spoil, but even that doesn't prepare the viewer for the twists and turns come the end of this film. In fact, nothing does. Nothing really prepares you for the end of this film. You know what the best part of that statement is? The movie tells you exactly how it's going to end throughout the duration of the film via imagery and off-screen exposition. It's nuts! It's absolutely masterful in its delivery and so clever in the way it unravels its mysteries come those last few minutes. And I don't think a lot of people got that Fusei's being a wolf, as the story likes to paint him, is this kind of central and literal theme here. And it's something that I was very appreciative of, as a viewer. It's difficult to find faults with a film that so expertly fulfills its goals as a military-driven tale of pseudo-espionage. Any complaints almost have to be purely personal opinionative factors. Some people might think it's boring, others might be disappointed with the way that things play out. And I will say that the metaphor used throughout the film to visualize the Wolf Brigade and the girls can come off as a little heavy-handed, but this falls back in line with what I said about the film straight up telling you how things are going to play out as they play out. It's part of a well-oiled machine of charismatic execution, even if it can seem a bit obtuse. So you know, in conclusion, I'm glad that I had Jin-Roh Wolf Brigade stowed away for a rainy day. As time goes on, I feel the walls closing in as I exhaust my pool of good anime media, but then there's always something like this to put my mind at ease. And now it's there for you. And as always, I'm just glad that I can talk about it. Makes me happy making videos like these for an audience of 100,000 people. When and why did that happen? That certainly is intimidating. If you like this review, be sure to check out my others. This is kind of what I do in between other miscellaneous BS. And go check me out over on Amazon.com, where I write short stories like The Burgeoning of Sinful Grim. And for those who have been begging for it, I swear the second one is coming soon. There will be a link in the description for that. And Facebook. Go like the Facebook, I guess, if you want to be kept up to date with the going-ons and don't mind if I spam your newsfeed with half-naked girls and whatever this shit is. And of course, have a good one and enjoy your film.